welcome them all. As we wait for more folks to come, let's get one more answer about what you're learning and how this connects. Yeah.
So we're in theater arts, and right now we're learning about duet and partner scenes. And so that really showed how you go back and forth between conversations without making it sound like a script and more like a conversation that would really happen.
Yeah. So you're learning about duet murders?
No, partner
Yeah, that's a brilliant connection. The duet, how these duet partner scenes work. There's so many of them in this play. So it's really what it's about. That's really great that you made that connection. Anyone last answer about how this connects to what you're learning right now in any of your classes? Did I see a hand up here? No. Okay. All right, then I'm going to let Fatima and Wardak introduce yourselves. Who did you play, since you've transformed into everyday humans now? And maybe just a little bit about who you are and what you do, where you're coming here from, just so they can get to know a little bit about you outside of this role.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Fatima Wardak. I use she, her pronouns, and I played Laila in the show. I live in New York City, but I'm actually from Seattle. I was born and raised here. Went to Shorecrest High School. I don't think that school is here today, but so I'm just really happy to be back in the area and working as a local actor. It's great to have the community. So thank you all for coming today. It's great.
Good morning. My name is Zarif. I played Afia. I was born in Kabul. I'm from Afghanistan, so is Fatima. Actually, 3 of the 4 of us in this play are actually from Afghanistan, which has been really special. And I grew up in California, and I live in New York City now. And this is actually my first time in Seattle getting to do this play, so I'm very happy to be here.
Question? You want to jump right in?
So, in one of the scenes, you said that your English wasn't very good, but the whole play was in English.
Yes, that's a great question. So this is a device in theater where we sort of hope that the audience can imagine that this whole time we're actually speaking Dari, which is one of the languages of Afghanistan. So you as an audience kind of have to use your imagination and think, okay, they're not speaking English, they're speaking Farsi or Dari right now.
And we also have one of them. Let's welcome Adam and Barzan here. Yeah, I know, he doesn't have hair. Surprise, surprise. Can you both introduce yourselves, since you look radically different than your characters? Who you played and kind of where you're coming from in the world, and just a little bit about you so they get to know you as actors.
Sure. I'm Adam El-Shirkawi. I live in Los Angeles, but I was born and raised here in Seattle. Went to Newport High School on the east side. I'm Egyptian. I have Egyptian heritage, and I just love being here. I'd like to say I was about your age when I first started seeing plays here at Seattle Rep, so the fact that I get to work here now is something that's very special for me.
Hi everyone, my name is Barzan Akbar. I play Joey today. And like Adam and Fatima, I also grew up in the Seattle area. I went to Linwood High School and did my undergraduate at Western Washington University up in Bellingham. And then I did my graduate work at the University of Washington as well. 206 all the way through these veins. But I'm just like Adam, I'm just so freaking excited that you guys are here today because the very first professional Shakespeare play I ever saw was here at the Seattle Repertory Theater during a student matinee. And I was telling all of my friends here, and a really amazing Seattle actor just passed away about 2 days ago. But he was the reason why one of the main reasons why I wanted to become a professional actor. And I saw him in that building, in the space right next to you, right here. And I leaned over to my best friend, like these two ladies were sitting right here, and I leaned over and I said to my best friend, Anthony, one day I'm gonna work on that stage, and I pointed up there. And so it's been an incredible journey to be back. But I live in New York now, but I'm glad to be back home.
Yeah, what questions do we have? Yes.
So you're all from New York. How did you guys come here? Like, how did you hear about the show in Seattle?
It's a great question. So their question is, since some of you are from New York or Chicago or Los Angeles, how did you learn about this show? How did you end up here?
Well, I've been really fortunate to work at this theater before. So when they were getting ready to cast the show, the casting director here just emailed me and asked if I would like to audition, which I did, and then got a call back and then got the part. So it's usually how it works. If you have like an agent, or if you don't, the casting director will reach out to your agent or you personally and ask you if you're interested in auditioning.
Yeah.
So
that's a different story.
I have a very different story. So typically, when you're an actor, you're a part of certain forums or websites where companies like Seattle Rep will post what they're auditioning for that season. However, my story was a little bit different. I had auditioned for it, then I wasn't cast. They cast another wonderful actress. Her name is Suzanne Joshidi, and in the last week of rehearsals, which are actually previews before opening night, she got some personal family news and wasn't able to do the show. So they called me a week before opening night, or 2 days before opening night. And the casting director called me and said, hey, are you available? They want to give you this part. 2 days later, I was on a plane in Seattle, and I literally arrived, I think 11 a.m. By 12, I was in the theater starting rehearsal. And then a week after that, I was on stage doing the play.
She learned this part in a week.
7
Yeah.
If there are any theater artists here and you're wondering what life in the theater is like, this is what it's like. You never know what your tomorrow will look like, and sometimes you'll get incredible opportunities, and I'm super grateful to be able to be plugged into this amazing cast, so it's been awesome.
What about you two? Let's get this answer from each of you.
For me, it's really simple. I keep tabs on theaters that I'm interested in working in. I still have family in the area, so I've always wanted to work at Seattle Rep. I saw that this play was being produced, thought it was a good fit for me, submitted an audition, and did the whole rounds of auditions. And I ended up I'm the understudy for the show. So I've learned Tarun's part and Javed's part. So I'm ready to jump in for either of those two characters if necessary. So it's a lot of work you end up having to do for this, and then you kind of just sit around and I joke and wait for the understudy bat signal to shine in the sky so I go.
To come visit it.
Yeah, so this is actually only the second performance I've done. The last night was my first one.
God, how did I come about it? My wife cast the world premiere production of this play when it was at Williams College in Williamstown, and then it went to an off-Broadway production. And so I already knew the playwright. I knew the play very well, and then I saw that the Seattle Rep was doing it. And the big boss at the Seattle Rep here, I went to undergraduate with him at Western, and so he hasn't hired me in 15 years. So I wrote to his ass. I'm sorry. I wrote to him and I said, no, I didn't write to him specifically, but I wrote the casting record. And it had been, through the pandemic and everything, a lot of us hadn't worked, because we just couldn't do this anymore. And it had been 2.5 years since I had been on stage, and that's the longest break I've had since the 7th grade. And I also hadn't seen my father in 2.5 years. He lives in Olympia now. And I just missed my dad so much. I would do anything to be near him. And so I contacted the rep and said, I'd like to audition. And then my agent and manager, when they got the audition, because then the rep contacts them. And my agent and manager said, no, you can't go to Seattle because it's so far away, and we need you in New York, and there's TV shows and all that. And I said, listen, I haven't seen my dad, my Baba, in over almost 3 years now. I need to be near him. And instantly my manager was like, you gotta go. And he convinced my agent then to let me go as well, too. And I got very lucky. And the director of our show was my professor in graduate school when I was at the University of Washington. So there was like a lot of life circles happening for me that I just, you know, a lot of this when we choose our work, we go where the work is, right? If somebody writes us a check and there's some zeros at the end of it, we like to go there and work there. But there's so many of them that, you know, that you have choices sometimes. And what I like to do is in my brain, I like to think of the 4 Ps when we're choosing a job. And that's the place that you go to work. So I love Seattle. Seattle's my home. That's great. The pay, right? There's some nice zeros attached. I'll take that. The people, I got to meet these wonderful people, but also my director and the artistic director, Braden. They're my friends, right? That's 3 of them. What's the fourth?
Play? What about the play?
Play.
And then the play. Most importantly, is it a good play? And this play was just nominated as a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize in Drama. It didn't win, but it was very close, you know. So it's really cool to have all 4 Ps checked for me.
Okay, this is kind of like a 2-in-1. Also, I'm going to Western Washington University.
Three Western alums right here.
I'm looking for acting.
Let's
so.
go, Vikings!
Just saying. Anyways, my question was, where did you guys start, and like, how was your kind of place where you're able to find people and get into the business, as well as where are you going with this? Like, what's your future plans?
So where, if anyone wants to answer, like, how did you get started in acting? How did you get to where you are? And what's next for you?
Oh gosh, you're like my mom. What are you doing next? Where are you going with this? I don't know. I guess I'll start. Well, in terms of getting started, actually, my first professional gig once I graduated, Western used to do a summer stock theater where they would like pay you, and they'd bring professional actors from the Seattle area as well. So that was actually my first professional gig. But I mean, it's about the hustle, man. Like, you got to look out for those opportunities. You got to be hungry for the work. And if you really care about the work and not just like, you know, yourself being a star, it'll come and people will gravitate towards you and want to work with you. So I've done all kinds of things. I did like educational theater, you know, worked places like this, workshops, or, you know, if you go to a town and contact some theaters and ask to be like a reader for auditions, so they get to know you. Sometimes they'll bring you in. Like, actually, the first thing I did here at the Rep was a staged reading in like this rehearsal room right over there. And then, you know, came back and did another show, came back and did another show, and now I'm here. So everybody has a different path, but I think it's really important to be, you know, hungry for the work and fun to work with, you know, like, this is a play, it's about having fun. And yes, we're talking about serious things, but, you know, you've got to remember how to be a good collaborator. I think that's really important. And then those projects will come if you're, you know, staying positive about it.
Yeah, I just want to add to what you're saying, because that was actually really wonderful what you said. You know, part of it too is just, there is no linear path in this career, unfortunately. Like other careers, there's a clear path. If you want to be a lawyer, you do X, Y, Z, you become a lawyer. Acting is a bit of a ambiguous kind of career path. So the things that I know to be true is do good work with people that you want to work with and be a good person. Because really, when you're in this rehearsal room, when you're on stage, when you're on set, it's all about elevating the people around you. It's not about me. It's about what can I do to make everyone else's work better and be a good collaborator and be a kind person. Really, that's the best way to move up in this business.
With one more question, and I'd love for you all to answer this question because I know you have beautiful answers to this. If anyone wants to share, what does this play mean to you, or this story mean to you, or how do you connect with these characters that you're playing?
Okay, I'll start. Well, on a very basic level, beyond even the content of the story. I've been acting since I was 8 years old. This is the first time that I've ever played an Afghan character on stage. And I'm much older than 8 years old now. So even that, I mean, as soon as this play sort of hit the circuit, I think a lot of that, of us from that part of the world who are normally underrepresented in the arts and in media, we just jumped at this opportunity. Like, we all have such an interesting story of like, we took the initiative to reach out and want to be a part of this story, because not only is it about people from Afghanistan, but it's a beautiful and humanizing tale. And it's so beyond that, and being able to just play an Afghan person and be myself in a lot of ways, what this story shares, this was written, it's so relevant today. I'm sure you guys have heard it on the news, but it was actually written in 2013. And, you know, much earlier than that, there's been many, many struggles in Afghanistan and the relationship with the United States. And I think each of us have a story that relates to something that, you know, the brother and sister or the husband and wife or the friend. We each know people back home who are going through similar experiences. We're here trying to help them and do what we can from our side. But it's extremely relatable and heartbreakingly relatable.
Yeah, I mean, same goes for me. Being an Afghan, getting to tell a story about my people and my country, and also getting to play a character that I love, that isn't just like a stereotype, or, you know, we're not talking about like terrorists or, you know, like the tropes that are usually put on us as Afghans, as brown people. This play does an amazing job of just telling a story about a family, about really good people who have to make really, really hard decisions. And also about how U.S. foreign policy affects day-to-day people in this country. I think that's really important. And, you know, I don't want everyone to come in here and feel bad about themselves for being an American, but I hope that they remember that we have a responsibility to these people, you know, like our government, the people we vote, well, you guys can vote for, but the people that your parents voted for, or where your future tax dollars are going to go, you know, are directly affecting these people's lives. And that's huge for me. I have a lot of family in Afghanistan. Last time I was there was in 2016. I helped evacuate some of my family members in August when all that was happening. And that danger, that pressure, that paperwork, that was my life for like 3 straight weeks. And it still is, as I still help them, you know, assimilate here, or not assimilate, but get jobs and learn English. And, you know, I'm still filling out all that paperwork and dealing with this. And it's so frustrating because I have these skills as an American. You know, I have the most powerful passport in the world. I speak English and Pashto and a little bit of, you know, Dari. So I can help my family, but I hate that I have to do this. I hate that they've been put in this position. And I hate that I have so many people that were still left behind. Like, I still get emails from random Afghans who have found me on the internet being like, can you help me, please? I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I help the Americans and I'm stuck here now. And it's just heartbreaking. And it's really hard to see people who look like you and sound like you go through such suffering. But I'm really grateful that the rep produced this play and that you all got to see it, and that people here in Seattle will see it, because there's a huge Afghan community here. You probably didn't know that. I was part of it. I grew up here. And there's a ton of refugees that just got here from Afghanistan. And, you know, you all seeing this play, hopefully when you come across one of those Afghans, like, you'll feel that empathy for them. You'll know a little bit about what they've been through. And that's how we build community, is through empathy and caring about one another. So thank you all for coming to see this play. It means a lot.
Thank you. That was really beautiful. Thank you, Fatima. Thank you, Lois, for sharing, and Adam and Barzan. We have to end here so you can get back to school. Thank you all for joining us. Keep learning, keep supporting your communities. And when you can vote and when you can advocate, make sure to use your voice to support communities outside of the United States as well. Thank you all so much. Thank you.